When I was 4, I had many visions of meeting God, meeting new people, and my inspiration is God. And when I draw, the first time that I drew, I thought that everything could do the same thing. But as I grew a little older, I knew that God gave me this gift to share with others too. So when I started drawing, God gave me more ideas that I don't even know. I don't even know what the meaning is. Like the pyramids, I really don't even know that meaning. Some paintings are even more harder and harder to think of and know that meaning. So when I started getting a little older, I started knowing that this is God. This is totally God. He's helping me with my art. He's helping me with my poetry, my life to live, other people's life. He's taking care of me like I was a little butterfly, and he's just a little human, just covering it, just making I'm safe. I like him. He's everything that I have, and when I think of that, I feel like a really good feeling that he's in every poem that I write, in every painting that I paint. Each time when I paint the eyes, I like the eyes because I like to paint their whole life in their eyes. Sometimes do with people even inside their eyes, little people. You don't think, you don't just, for example, you dream of something and you just see stuff inside your dream and you just see it. It's like exactly like writing it and seeing it at the same time. I know it's God, I really know it. And sometimes I just feel like, God gave me this gift to me, why not others? Because sometimes I'm a little frustrated because I don't get that right thing, like the right word or the right position. So I'm frustrated, but when I just start talking to God, I just go away and I start talking to him. When I start talking to him, he just calms me down right away. He just says that everything's gonna be okay. And then when I just know that feeling, I just know that it's real. Everything's happening and other people could have that feeling too. I started having this feeling of writing something down about the painting that I was sketching. So I was thinking of something, but I didn't need to think. I was just writing effortlessly. And when I started writing and I showed it to my mom, she says, what is these words coming from? And I said, it's from God. Then I just showed, I used to go to school that time. So I showed it to my art class. It's like show and tell. And all the students were like this, oh my gosh, did you write that? And I thought everybody could write the same thing as I. When I started getting a little older, I understood that God gave me this gift to share with others, to teach others what he gave me. The day I was born, I met myself. The day I was born, I met my young mother. The day I was born, I met Christ sleeping in my cradle.
It all started when I was 4 years old, and of course at the time, my family did not believe in God. We didn't go to church, we didn't pray, and then one day I started having these visions and dreams about heaven, about galaxies, about people, about my future. It was amazing.
did you ask your mom to give you the art supplies, or did she just go buy them, or?
I actually told her specifically to get an art supply. If I didn't have a pencil or a paper in my hand, I'll just take food even and draw it on the walls. That's how much I wanted it so bad and to share with them. And then, you know, I kind of told my mom to go to the store, give me these brushes, and it should be the opposite, but in this case it wasn't. So that's how it all went.
And so tell us a little bit more. You said that you started having dreams and visions, but I know that there was one time at least that you were literally taken up
to heaven.
Could you tell about that experience?
When I was 5.5 years old, and it was in the process where they're just balancing on the fact that I was seeing these visions and dreams. One day I was literally not here on earth. I was taken to heaven, and my body was split into millions of selves, and they were going into these places and these dimensions, these galaxies. Meanwhile, down in my home, there were hundreds, I'm telling you, hundreds of policemen in our house, in our yard, searching for me. And we lived in a small town in Rollin, Missouri, and so we knew everybody, and they were searching for me for 6 hours. But I saw every single move what they were doing as if I was from above. I saw my brother hiding in a bush. I saw policemen searching around the lake. I saw everybody. But 6 hours later, I came back. I kind of walked around the hallway, and then I saw my mom talking to, the policeman. She just looked at me, and she couldn't believe her eyes, so she looked again, and then she started crying so much, and she just ran up to me, and she asked me, "So where have you been? You've been scaring me to death." And I says, "Mom, I was tired because I was drained from traveling a lot." So I says, "Mom, don't worry, everything's okay. I was in heaven." She kind of, she's a mother, so she was so caring of me, and so she really didn't take what I was saying so seriously. So, little by little, she started listening what I was saying, what places I was seeing, and what people I was talking to, and she just started supporting me, and here I am today talking with you.
So what you saw, did that inspire what you paint?
That inspired me for me to draw more, for me to paint more. I saw so many things that I started drawing thousands of sketches a day, and sometimes I threw them away in the garbage can because they were not perfect. And since then I was a perfectionist, so I liked everything perfect, and it was just an incredible tool for me to use. I'm so glad I was able to go there in a good way. The music, I don't know where to start, because it was so beautiful that when I came down here on earth and I started listening to my mom's lullabies, what happened was the music screeched my ears. It was so bad. I had to cover my ears, and I was crying. I was like, "Mom, stop it, stop." And she was crying. It's like, what did I do wrong? Am I singing bad? And I says, "No, Mom, but I don't know what's wrong. I'm just hearing the different things. And the music there is so different that when I came here and it just screeched in my ears like chalk on a blackboard, it was so bad." But, you could even in heaven, you could actually taste the music. You could actually taste the air. It was so beautiful, but when years went by, I was able to balance this music and that music. But I'm so glad I was able to do that, because I love music here and I love music there, and I'm just so blessed.
So didn't you say that the music even had color?
oh, they had color, it just had everything. It had taste, color, it had, hearing, it had touch, it had everything. It's so hard for me to describe to you what I was seeing, but one day you guys will see it.
Tell me about the colors in heaven and then how you've tried to bring those colors into your paintings.
As for colors, that was very hard because it was completely opposite what we have here on earth and there in heaven. When I was painting Supreme Sanctuary, I really wanted to paint something that to show to people what I was seeing in heaven. And the colors were so difficult because what I had on my palette, completely different. And the best I can do, I just use the rich colors and I try to paint it, but it was so difficult. But one day I will be able to paint the exact colors what I was seeing.
I know one of your favorite paintings is The Prince of Peace, and you painted that when you were 8 years old.
8 years old, yes.
Could you tell us about that picture and how that came about?
That picture has so many stories to tell, but when I was searching for a model for 2 years, I went to malls, I went to stores, I went to everywhere, and I couldn't find the right person to present Jesus. Well, one day I told my mom and my dad, it's like, I can't do it. I give up. Well, we heard a knock on the door that exact same day in the afternoon, and I opened it, and it was 6.5-foot tall man who was a carpenter. And I looked at him, I was like, you're perfect. You're just what I was looking for. No, I was small. I was like this tall, and I was looking up. And of course, he was expecting a grown-up. And he heard from his friend's friend that I was looking for a model, and he wasn't expecting, an 8-year-old girl to paint him. So it took a little while for him to believe that I was the artist, and later I started sketching him, and later I started painting him. But that specific piece, as you can see, it's a portrait. One side of his face is light that represents the truth. The dark side of his face represents the suffering. The light in his eye and the dark side represents he will always be with us when we're in trials. And that specific painting was so meaningful to me. It's still my favorite today. Well, of course, this is my self-portrait, and I wanted to show people what I was feeling when God was helping me to do the other paintings. Well, as you can see, I don't have a palette in my hand. That's where I put the colors on and I paint it. What happens is the palette is the universe. And when God paints a star, I take that star and I paint a new star. And I'm co-creating with God, and I believe I'm doing that with every single painting. And all of you guys are doing that the exact same thing. You're co-creating with God. And I really wanted to express that feeling in this painting. And this when I think it was 11 years old with acrylics. And this is the full size.
Did someone commission you to do that painting? Didn't they ask you to do it?
They wanted me to do it, but they didn't commission me to do it. So they got me the idea, and I started painting it.
And then they never came back or something?
No,
and then you got to keep the picture.
it was an angel.
Yeah, it was probably an angel.
I think they wanted me to paint that, but this is actually called The Creation. I think it was 10, 11 years old I did this, but it's all about the creation of our universe. I put all the planets in there. I put so many hidden, objects in there, and I had so much fun with this that I actually put a little astronaut that big, and I put my initials on it, and some people couldn't find it. Probably like 95% couldn't find it, and I had to show them it. But, if you guys like to look and be mysterious and to find it, that would be really cool. But, I loved painting this painting. Just the blues, the magentas I just loved the colors so much that I loved, and I really enjoyed it. It's Eve, and I blended 4 races to present Eve, the mother of all mankind. And when she bit into the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, the red is evil, the green is good, she just found the deception bleeding through it. As you can see, there's like a droplet of like red substance coming through the fruit, and then she's just looking up to God for forgiveness. And I really wanted to capture that so bad into the painting, and that was actually my quickest piece I've ever done, and yet it was the most meaningful piece, and I'm so glad I did that.
Well, my very favorite of Akiane's paintings is the one that you did of Mary holding the baby.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're all our favorites. But that one, I remember coming to your house when you were just in the middle of painting it, and I just cried. And they were so gracious and gave me the print of that one, and it's such a treasure, such a treasure. But could you explain that one too? I know that there's a real meaning behind that painting also.
Well, that actually, I was inspired by me and my mom. I just was so connected with her, and I was so attached to her that I really wanted to represent something, to represent our, connection. And, Mary is sitting down, she's holding baby Jesus, and I connected her robe, with baby Jesus's. And I really wanted to present the connection between the two. And one side of her hand is underneath the child, that's in the shadows, that presents, the crucifixion. But her other hand on top of the child, that's in the light, represents the birth and the resurrection. And all those times she was with him, all those times. And I just really wanted to present the love between the two. And I love blue, that's my favorite color, by the way, and it was really fun painting that. There were so many different kinds of animals there. They're just countless. Of course, we have a number of animals here on Earth, but my eyes were almost bloated from seeing everything. Actually, I was able to communicate with the animals. I was able to hear the animals' thoughts. I was able to feel them, and I was so connected to each one of them. And of course, it was so long ago that I was seeing this, and I'm so glad I'm able to remember that, because it's such a good feeling and such a good image, and of course, there are so many animals there. Well, ever since I was 4 years old, I always had a goal of helping children and trying to unite people with my art and poetry, and I think that's always going to be my forever goal, and I'm still going to continue it, and no matter what pathways and what challenges I have to go through, and I'll never quit, that goal. The second painting is called Hope, where she left her, hard memories behind. As you can see, there's, gray mountains, and now she's like in a little hill full of flowers and blossoms all over. And I really wanted to present the hope that she's looking for in her future, and it's going to be a very exciting future for her. I don't know where I got the word quantum or those little world, but I just had a vision or a dream about these places. So I drew them, I painted them. What happened was, I don't know, a couple months later, this quantum physicist came over, and he just looked at me and he's like, how did you know that that is a part of the quantum world? And he started saying to me this with mathematical formulas, and I kind of just don't understand it or remember it, but it was just incredible to hear from him, a quantum scientist, that I was painting the real thing, and I just really that's just like a small, minuscule part what I was seeing, and it's just incredible to hear that.
That's interesting too, because we know that Einstein, even with the theory of relativity, it came through a dream. And Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge.
Now, where do we start there? All I could say, there were so many angels that I was seeing that there was so much that I actually forgot almost all of them. And I remember, I painted actually two angels that I actually remember. One was with an angel holding this energy filled with, love, and she was actually wearing a veil that represents the power from God. And I just looked at them, and I was wondering, like, where are their wings? I thought, angels, but God told me they're not able to be seen through the human's eyes. able to be seen in spiritual's eyes. And it was so interesting for me because I actually used my own imagination to paint the wings, but I looked back and I was like, there's something wrong. So I covered the wings up with the paint, and I'm just very anxious to see how their wings are. But as far as I know, the angels are just beautiful with this veil on, and they had such great power from God, and the energy is amazing. And I see them everywhere, no matter if it's in a person, if it's an animal, or there's the ceiling, anywhere I could see them.
And you just walk in there, and the presence of God is so rich and powerful. And but you're moving, and they're moving out of the home in Post Falls to a home in Spirit Lake.
Twin Lake.
Twin Lake.
Yeah.
Close. They're close to each
enough.
other. And your dad told me it's going to be so much larger, 7,000 square feet, I think, and
so much larger that when we display the whole paintings, even a whisper can be heard and echo through the whole entire place. That's how big it is. But even now, when I walk down to my studio and I pass all the paintings around me, I just feel so inspired. I feel so much strength to keep on moving forward, because I just look back. It's like, oh my goodness, I did that, but I could do better. I could do more and more meaningful paintings, and that's what keeps me going every single day.
How many hours do you devote a day to painting?
It depends, between 4 to 5 hours, but of course they have breaks in them, and it doesn't seem that long when you paint. It looks like the time just stopped, and I'm in this realm where I just paint on and on.
And don't you get up early and start painting every day?
That's why I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, to just get it all in me, and I get so much inspiration from getting up in the morning, and so much energy, and it's just a perfect time for me to paint.
I remember you telling a story that when you were younger, that you were getting up so early that your parents wouldn't let you get up until a certain time.
No.
That she was so ready to get started and spend time with God that they had to tell her, you can't get up that early.
I used to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and for some reason I really didn't need much sleep at that time, and I used to just wake up in the morning, tiptoe downstairs, and my dad says, just go back to sleep, please. But, we had a little discussion, so I started waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning again. But that's just a perfect time, actually. Just a perfect, convenient.
Yeah, that's an important thing for artists, to set that time aside and to have that
Yes.
quiet time. And so she does that. Do you do that every day, or
I do that every day except Saturday. It's like a little day off.
Okay.
And I'm really excited since today's my little day off, and it was just incredible to be here and talk to you guys. Well, I started writing poems when I was around 7 years old, and the first time I wrote a poem, I just fell in love with it because I could just put so much things into a poem, what I feel through the day or what I'm going to feel tomorrow. It was such a great expressive way that I was able to express myself. So since then, I started writing, hundreds of poems, and yet if I'm so stuck and I'm so crowded with poems, I could write 10 books of them and 300 pages. It's so much right now, and I'm so blessed I'm able to write them down, and I just love them a lot.
So could you share one of your poems with us?
Of course. This is actually my favorite above all the thousands. It's a short one, but it's so meaningful to me. This is called Love. Love is never alone. Love is always crowded. Love is a shared self. We cannot own our love. We cannot teach our love. The longest breath of love is the shortest distance to heaven. The deepest life is love. The deepest love is an embrace. Love is not rest. Love is peace. Love is a purpose.
So
yeah.
you were 15.
Yeah, right now I am.
Yes. So okay, let's go back to when you started painting, when you started actually doing artwork.
Oh yeah.
How old?
Well, let me start by saying I grew up in a family who, well, was very supportive, but we did not believe in God. We did not go to church. We just did not pray. And when I was around 3.5, 4 years old, I started seeing these things, seeing these visions, and seeing these dreams of different worlds and different dimensions. But at the same time, we had no television, barely any books, and no newspapers, no radio, nothing. So when I actually explained some of these visions to my mom, it was such a surprise to her, and she's like, "Where did you get this information from?" And that convinced her that there's something that's going on in my mind. So, and then to prove to her that I was seeing these stuff, I started drawing them. And I probably drew 100, maybe for 2-3 days. I drew so many. It was just all I could think of.
There were sketches, weren't there?
Absolutely. It was mostly about faces, because there's so many faces that I was seeing, and I drew them. And my mom saw this gift in me, and she gave me all the materials I needed, and she supported me. My family started supporting me, and I went into pastels at the age of 6. And then after that, I went to acrylics. It was about that time when I started writing poetry, because I was seeing these words everywhere. I was seeing these profound sentences, and I wanted to write them. Thank God she was there, and I had such a supportive mother.
And you were able to visualize these by starting the sketch and then
Yes.
eventually all these other processes
Absolutely,
of doing
and
that.
actually, right after I sketched them, I don't know why, but they started to fade away, all the visions that I had of that particular image. It was just, when I started, if I didn't put it down on paper, I would forget it the next day. It was it was all meant to be that I had to put it down, or else it would be forgotten.
So you've never had any training whatsoever?
Whatsoever. I am completely self-taught. I learn by my own mistakes, and I have to tell you, it is a great teacher. You learn a lot by just you have to be poised and patient, a lot of patience and discipline by doing that. So I just used everything.
Are you a fast painter? Does it take hours, or what is it?
It most definitely takes me quite a few hours. When I was 8 years old, it took me probably 15 to 100 hours to paint a particular painting, but now it's more 200 to 400 hours.
Really?
So about a month to 3 months.
And is it because you have all these visions of the detail, and you want to have every detail there?
Yes, exactly. I like being a perfectionist. I like everything perfect. I like everything the way I saw it as. So I want to keep, if you really see it, I could go on painting my whole life and still never be finished. The details are just, it's limitless, but somehow I know when to stop. But yes, I want to keep going with the details.
You did a self-portrait, which I understood sold for what, like $10,000?
Yes, that was actually my first painting that I've sold, was $10,000 at the age of, I think it was 9.5, 10.
And how long did it take you to paint that particular?
That took me about 50 hours, somewhere around there, and considered I only painted for 2 to 3 hours at the time, but now I'm painting like 5 to 6.
Did that come from a vision, doing your own self-portrait, or did you take a picture of yourself and say, okay, I'll try myself?
Yeah, I did a little bit of experimenting there, but I mostly used a mirror just as a model, but since I didn't have any models at the time, I just used myself, but also I wanted to show people how I really communicate with God, or with how I see different things, and I wanted to show that expression that I was experiencing.
What's your favorite painting?
Now?
Of everything that you've ever done.
That is a good question. You have to tell me categories, the faces.
Well, okay. Give me, is that how you break it up?
I
mean,
don't know. To be honest with you, I think I like to say my last painting is my favorite. Mm-hmm. But, you know, for example, the newest one, the first, it's with a man and a woman. It's a close-up of them, and you could see they're about to whisper something secret to one another that's only meant for them. And I call it the first so people just could create their own story. And I just love that one. Gosh, I love the family with the leopards. So it's so diverse. I love everything, but I appreciate everything.
You talked about the fact that your family was not religious.
Yeah. Yes.
And now are they religious? Are you a strict Christian, or what
You know,
how does that play into your life?
I have to tell you, we went through almost everything. We went through being Christian to being a Catholic. We just studied Buddhism. But at this particular point, I think every single of my siblings, they have their own little, their own path, their own spiritual enlightenment that they're reaching. I have my own. My parents have theirs, and my brothers have theirs, and I cannot say what they believe in or what they are going, what path that they're choosing, but I could say that for me, I'm the same person when I was 4 years old. I haven't changed, and since nobody taught me who God was, I found God myself, and it was just He's been there for me through the years. And so I don't belong to any denomination, exactly, or religion. I just belong to God.
You're spiritual.
I'm spiritual.
The whole
there.
family is
Perfect.
spiritual.
I like that.
Yeah. But it has changed, and it had a huge impact on your family, what you have gone through, and what your life is all about now.
Yeah, and it definitely it didn't change anybody, because my whole family was so supportive, so loving, even before the transformation. They haven't changed, but it definitely brought us more closer together as a family.
Now, I would take it that you've probably had criticism of your work.
Oh,
and
yes.
you've also had people question about the visions and all of these types of things. How do you handle that?
I ignore them.
But is it irritating? Does it annoy you?
You know, in the beginning, it was very, very heartbreaking. I have to tell you, it was just when people tell me, "Oh, you paint shadows, you paint black. It's devil's work. Burn all your paintings and poetry. You're Satan's child," or something like that.
That's pretty extreme.
Being an 8-year-old, of course, you take it to heart. But right now, I think I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the comments, and I'm in my back of my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? It's all right. People share their own opinion, and I'm hoping that they will find a better answer to their question. I can't answer if they're complaining. I just can't. They'll probably have to find their own way. But I can accept it. It's fine, but I try to stay away from them.
As I mentioned, I guess it was your first portrait of yourself sold for like $10,000. Some of your paintings have sold for double that, right, or more?
Some are priced at $5 million, but
whoa!
But most of them are.
That's more than double.
Yeah, I think so. But you have to understand, a portion of my the money coming from my paintings are going to charities or fundraisers that I strongly believe in, and a portion goes to my future fund, and a portion goes to my business, and it's a group effort. It's my family and the employees. It's a group effort that brings this business to life.
At 15, do you ever feel overwhelmed by all of this? Because you handle yourself like you are much older.
Well, you know what? I like to surround myself who is really smarter than me, intelligent. But I like it though in a way because it keeps me grounded. Yes, I would love to, to go to school, but at the same time I'm looking, after school, what am I going to do? It's so much more than that. But as my family has been there all along.
Are you usually working on more than one painting at a time or one at a time?
I wish to.
Yeah.
I don't think I can work on 2 or 3 because I don't think my mind works good like that.
You got to focus on
I
one
have to
thing.
focus on because it's like raising a child. You have to put your whole mind and your whole brain just to raise that. So to me, every single painting is like a child to me. I put my heart and soul and blood and my sweat into it. So just a lot of focus.
On top of that, you write poetry.
Yes, I do. I actually published my second book about 3 years ago, and it's just all about my poetry from 7 to 11. But I have still like 14, 13 more poetry books to go to get to publish. But
Now, is poetry, is that also, do you have visions for that, or is that just something that you work on daily, or you have certain themes?
You know what? It just comes out of me effortlessly. You could wake me up at 2, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I still have so much to tell, so much poetry.
Such as what? What type of, what's the subject
Name
matter?
it, anything, name anything. Worlds, love, war, famine. There's so much things I want to share with people. And I think my poetry and my art really balances out and helps me be grounded, and it definitely is the best of both worlds.
And does the poetry coincide much with what you're painting?
Exactly, and actually about half of my poetry go with my paintings, and they explain them, and it's so good to have poetry and art. It's timeless. It's literally timeless, and 1,000 years from now, art will still be so valuable, and also poetry, because it's an art itself too.
Is it an outlet from the painting?
Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, I guess, after you've been painting all day long and you're kind of focused on that, it's almost like taking a walk. You get yourself to have a breather.
You know what? Actually, to be honest with you, after I paint for 5 hours, and it'll take me about like 5 minutes to do like 2-3 pages of poetry. So it is kind of a breather, little rest, but it feels so good that I do both of them.
Now, at 15, I suppose a lot of young people your age would be thinking about what they want to do beyond high school.
Yes.
Now, are you looking to go to college, or have you already been in the school of life here, that you figured you're doing what you're going to do for the rest of your life?
I think it's a mixture of everything. I think I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, but at the same time, I have this idea of teaching children and teaching, young adults and even adults. And I have this idea where I have this whole school in mind, where it's a school of arts, where it's music, cooking, dancing, singing, art, sculpting, is everything. And I want to teach children to be not afraid of making mistakes and really learn from them, and just to be open, no more strict rules, and it has to be coming from the heart, really, not from the brain.
When you talk to folks about yourself, what do you say?
How do I introduce myself?
Well, I'm just wondering, is it really the presentation about your artwork, or what do you want to, I guess, share with people about your experiences?
I think it's more about the message that I really want to share to people. It's more about there's so much negativity that's in the media. There's so much, teenagers that go into public school, and they're just so. it's hard for them. It's, to be honest with you, I feel for them, and I want to create this environment where they are free in a way where they could express themselves, but with the art ability, with their talents. I want to inspire them to bring their utmost potential. And just those, when I meet people from all over the world, especially young adults, when they come to me and they say thank you for being an inspiration, that itself to me is just, the feeling is just unbelievable. Because to inspire someone, it's priceless. To be honest with you, there's no words to describe.
In a way, I like the mystery of not knowing why, because it just makes it more adventuresome and unique. And I think that some other children and some other people are the exact same way in some occasions, that they just don't know why they're chosen or they have this amazing ability. And I think that that's the beauty of being a human, is not knowing some little details. And I'm actually quite glad that I don't know that answer. It makes me stronger. Every painting that I do is a portrayal of a world that I have seen or visited, and it has a specific emotions and specific stories and experiences that are trying to project through the canvas. In a way, I feel like each time when I visit my gallery, I feel like the paintings actually move. They're like a moving picture that I go inside, and it's like a whole other atmosphere when I enter. I feel like that every painting has an emotion that they want to draw people's attention to. They want to comfort them, and it did those paintings that actually reacted to me as well. I felt like I was part of them and of those worlds as well. I believe that through my curiosity and through my exploration and the diverse emotions, I feel that through that wondersome of a child, I experience the unknown. And sometimes I feel that people, through many distractions and hesitations, they feel sometimes threatened or stressed out or very withdrawn to the idea of letting go and just be curious. I think humanity has lost that, has lost the wondering and not, in a way, not withdrawing as much. I think people need to stand up more and be more open to more possibilities, to the unknowns. I believe that God wanted, or this universe has wanted us to be happy and experience and live, and people don't, in my opinion, don't really live in the open. They live in a box, and that's what's withdrawing a little bit of the humankind, in my opinion. I've found out that my personal, my God is more of a personal and specific, extraordinaire, in my opinion. I think that's more of a personal sanctuary inside. Nothing can be duplicated or can relate to it, because it's not like any other that's been created. Yes, the closest thing that I could, as a child, that I could relate, my God, is through some different religion aspects of like Christianity and so. But at the end, I figured out nothing can have a word to what I really truly believe in. So I decided to just make it my own sanctuary inside me, and keep it very close and dear, and like a gift, being unopened, so treasured in a way.
Oh, that's beautiful. But then how do you respond when you feel like someone wants you to embrace their point of view or their dogma or their scriptural definition or whatever they want to impose on you as being the correct point of view? How do you negotiate those moments?
I could relate actually to anybody in any background, in any position, any religion, and I feel that there's no wrong answer and there's no right answer. I think that if people have already feel comfortable in what they have chosen, it's not, how to explain it, it's the mere fact of searching the truth on your own. That is the true meaning of being comfortable. I feel like if people already have chosen their place, then it's the search that counts, that makes it exciting and that makes it beautiful. And if they have already chosen, then I feel like that I can relate as well, because I love everybody and every race, every position, and I think that we're all one. We're all connected somehow, and that's just the beauty of searching for the answer and searching for the truth. Through my years of my career, I have gone ups and downs in my spiritual growth, and who hasn't at some point in their life? But what really came down was the fact of the beautiful, just the beautiful reality of what my little brother said. His name is Ilya, and what kept me grounded in my spiritual path is what he writes in his books. Sometimes I feel like that if I'm missing a piece of a puzzle, I've always searched through his aphorisms, and it just makes me just feel more comfortable in where I'm going. And
wow.
It could be, I think every person needs to have that, some sort of bit of guidance. It could be a family member, it could be a guru, or it could be a friend, but someone who you can lean a shoulder on and just trust them. And I feel by doing that, you will grow more and more and believe more and more in the spiritual unknown realms. And that's how I became more comfortable in my spiritual paths and more confident, is by just reviewing some of the little beautiful gifts that my little brother sometimes write in his books, and I feel that brings me down to the center of connection, I guess.
I would wonder to what degree you ever have portrayed in any of your artwork the darkness of humanity.
There's actually a painting. It's called First Steps of Eternity. It's where there's a earthly self and a heavenly self. And when I was searching for a model, this is when I was about 5 years ago. When I was searching for a model, I came across this young lady, which she had beautiful features, beautiful body, and she was the right person that I wanted to pick. As I didn't know nothing about her. I'd only known her name. And after she modeled for me, I just decided to put her in this pose where she's covering her head, and her heavenly self is pouring this liquid hope on her head, as if it's like a parallel universe. Wow. And as I was painting the earthly self, you could see the trauma, the very just this loss of hope in her expression, in her figure, that she was crying. In the painting, you would see that. And as I asked the lady, the model, to ask her opinion, she started crying because I've known her to be such a happy person, but she'd never cried. And she said that she went in the most traumatizing time in her life, where she had an extremely traumatizing divorce, and she went through a lot of pain and suffering. And as she saw herself in the painting, she felt that I somehow predicted her future. And actually 3 months later, she found the most amazing person in her life, and she's still with him today. And she says heaven is on earth. And as in the painting, she has a heavenly self pouring this hope on her very tearful self. And those little nuances, those little glimpses of that suffering are in my paintings. But at the same time, I know there's a contrast. I know there's an opposite, that maybe I can put those two opposites together and make them work. Because without hate, there's no love. Without darkness, there's no light. I think they both work each other, and they have to balance each other out. And that's some of the in my paintings as well. And sometimes I just feel that people are in the wrong places where they should be, and more of in their natural place. Sometimes people work in some situations where there's almost their whole energy is sucking them, and I feel that they have to. I wish that people could go back to their natural abilities and just work on their natural abilities. They will be more happier, and they'll be more alive, and the finance and the whole world will come naturally into their lives. And I feel that when people start concentrating on what they really love, everything will naturally come into place, like a puzzle's coming together. I have my point of views. I feel yes. When I was younger, I was brought to these beautiful places, which I decided to call them heaven and paradise, and the most beautiful place on earth, and the universes. And I felt that there is heaven, but heaven could also be on earth as well if we create it to be. I think that heaven is all around us, in reality and not reality. There are so millions upon millions of parallel universes where millions of us are in sync with other selves across the universe. I think if one is gone, the other one is still there somewhere. Heaven is to me a figure of word that we are never gone. We are always and always will be connected somehow, in somewhere in the way of a part in the corner of the universe. We're never gone, no matter what. In my opinion, I think we will return to our natural beings. We will become someone else. Our other selves will grow, and I think the universe is so complicated, so diverse, that I don't even understand, and I think no one will fully understand, but there is a heaven everywhere. It's the way we create it, the way we perceive it, and the way we believe in it that makes it even more realer. And as a child, when I was so eager to learn, so eager to know things, I grabbed that information and decided to build on it. And that's where the art and the poetry decided to come naturally. And that's where I decided to express those informations that I received through the arts. And that's who I am today. And I'm in a way a journalist, artistic journalist who learns and who sees and who experiences things and paints them so others could learn or share or just appreciate.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Carol, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.